Hello, everybody. Century Media Records would like to thank you for picking up this very special pre-order edition of In This Moment's The Dream. And just for you, we have an exclusive interview with Chris Howarth and Maria Brink from In This Moment, where you get an inside look from the band on their new album. Enjoy. So, Maria and Chris, when did the songwriting process for The Dream begin?
The songwriting process definitely began on tour, because we realized that tour was going to be ending soon, and we didn't want to be, missing in action for too long. So we realized we wouldn't have as much time as we had for the first album to write. So I would start nagging the guys and getting on everyone to start writing while we were right on the bus, traveling and things like that. And so that's where it all really began.
Did you go into the songwriting process with any particulars in mind, creating hits, longer solos, things of that nature?
We definitely wanted to write good songs. We didn't really have any kind of a game plan. We kind of just wrote what came out, and every idea was considered, even if it was like, that's not heavy enough, or that's too light, or that's too heavy, or anything like that. There wasn't any talk like that. It was like just any idea we could come up with, we put down. I definitely wanted to have solos in there, and we definitely wanted to make songs that were good, catchy songs that everyone could enjoy, as well as us.
I personally just really wanted to not follow a dotted line. I just wanted us to really kind of explore, into ourselves and just come up with the best songs that we could come up with, and really find the artists in ourselves, basically. I didn't want it just to have to be this, formula thing. I wanted us to find something that, was inside of us that we could bring out that was definitely not the same beaten path that we'd been on.
Now, the new album has an overall theme. Each of the tracks having chapter titles and whatnot. Who came up with these concepts, and how did they develop over time?
That was actually my idea, to do the chapters. We were kind of talking about the whole thing being dreamy and the way that the titles were kind of coming along, and we saw some of the artwork from Anthony, and I had the idea for making it like a little storybook kind of vibe with the chapter titles, and it kind of went really easily. Once Maria started writing lyrics, we started being able to come up with what the chapters were going to be, and the titles and stuff like that, and everything just kind of came together real organically and smooth.
For some reason, I've always been drawn to, the fairy tale world and the dream and the Alice in Wonderland and this whole just outer world, or inner world experience thing that I am drawn to. So I had been wanting to call it The Dream for over a year. I didn't tell the guys right away, but so I kind of bring the idea to everyone, and things I was thinking of, and everyone kind of liked it. So it was an easy process. I didn't have to beg anyone for it or convince them. It kind of just started unfolding by itself. And the songs, I wanted them all to have this inner world, this feel, this dreamy, outer world thing. And I believe, and we believe kind of in the idea of dreams. You have to kind of go into that world of dreams and to make dreams come true. And that's kind of how we live our life. Dreaming is manifesting and visualizing it and all that. So it all made sense to all of us.
How did acclaimed producer Kevin Churko come into the picture, and what did he add to the fold?
Well, Kevin was recommended to us by our manager, Blasco, who actually worked with Kevin on the last Ozzy record. And at first, we didn't really know much about Kevin other than I loved the Ozzy record and thought the songs were amazing that he'd done. But we didn't know too much about him, and once we did some research, we really liked his background. He's worked with Mutt Lange, who made Hysteria, Back in Black. I mean, this guy has The Cars. He's done some amazing hit albums. And we just were really stoked to work with somebody who would have the chance to work with him. And we met with Kevin, I think it was sometime this summer, and we did one song with him, which was Forever. And it came out so well that we were just immediately all stoked to be working with Kevin Churko, and we realized the guy is like a super talent with he's like a mad scientist who's a musical genius, and we were just very fortunate to be able to work with him. And it worked. The process was so amazing for us working with him. I mean, the way he did everything. It wasn't like we were on a time constraints, but he didn't like to work like that, and we explored every avenue we could, every idea we had, any idea he had. We went for it and tried it out, despite the time restraints, and it worked out really great. We love working with them.
I think he really brought out the artist and the musician, and out of all of us, the best that we could be. He was amazing to work with, and we just adore him and love him. We really do. I want to do all of our albums with him personally. I think that he's just phenomenal at what he does.
So, did you go into the studio with all the material mapped out, or did it come together as you recorded?
No, we definitely did not have it mapped out. Songs were developing new every single day. Like, we'd have kind of a map, a little bit of what we thought it would be, and it would completely develop into something completely different. So for me, it was definitely scary and challenging because it was like a brand new song that I had to write to immediately. So I had to lock myself in the bedroom and kind of write all my stuff and go ask the guys, what they think of it and then I become all sensitive because I work on it in the dark, and then I go tell them if they don't like it. I'm like, but it wound up being just perfect in the end, and I was happy with it.
We had it mapped out as well as we thought it could be mapped out. When we went to the studio, we had a CD with like 18 song ideas on it, and then we basically with Kevin Turco, we went through each song one at a time and mapped out how we wanted them to flow, considering his ideas for the flow of the song and what we wanted, and we just started one at a time and put them together. Some of them stayed similar to what they were when we brought them in, but a lot of them, we went into these different directions and explored every avenue and every idea that we all had, and they turned into these whole new things. So it was a really cool process.
Now, the band's sound has clearly evolved and matured greatly in just a short period of time. How do you think the evolution came about, and was this evolution a natural one?
It was definitely a natural one. We had a long time before we got signed to write those songs and for the first album, Beautiful Tragedy. And at the time, that's how we were feeling that music. But with this new stuff, like I said, we were going to make an album. We knew it was time. We started writing songs, and we didn't cast anything aside. If this is what we came up with, and we just recorded all of it to see how it would turn out. And everything that ended up on this album is what we wanted to end up on this album. It's the stuff that we wrote. So it was a total organic process for how it came about, the evolution from the last album to this one. And now that it's done and we're listening to it, we're just really, really happy with how it went. It's still in this moment. It's still us, but we've definitely grown in leaps and bounds and came up with something a lot more sophisticated than we ever thought possible.
We've just been playing together now for so long, every single night for years, and I think that we all kind of knew, just kind of started knowing each other and finding each other and exploring, like bringing out things that we had been thinking about musically, and we all really respect each other, and it all just kind of, it really all kind of blended and came together in a way that I thought was going to be much more challenging than it was. It really wasn't.
So, Maria, your voice is very angelic on this record, and you really prove your talents as a vocalist. How much preparation went into recording these tracks, and is it easier on your voice singing rather than screaming?
Thank you for saying my voice is angelic, by the way. Preparing for these tracks, like I said, was definitely, it wasn't challenging as far as what I did, is what I knew I kind of wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to write about. I knew what I wanted to do. But as far as the songs developing so quickly, a new one every day, that was challenging, trying to place it all into the song and find the right emotion and lyrics for the song, because that's something that's really important to me. And with my voice, I'm not quite sure what's easier. I think screaming is actually a bit easier for me than singing. Singing, I think, is a little bit more challenging with these. There's so much, you really got to get it perfect, the note perfect. With screaming, you can wiggle it around all you want. You can go high.